The summer travel season here in the north has been nothing short of incredible, with long days under the midnight sun as we undertook our biggest backcountry trip to date, 700 kilometers down the mighty Yukon River. And although being up north in the fall is in our opinion the best time to be up here, we decided to point the van southbound down the Stewart Cassiar Highway in order to chase some new adventures down the road. The wildness of this area certainly reminds us of how small we really are. Up here, life runs a little bit slower, and we plan to soak that in as much as we can before rolling into the city of Prince George in a few days' time. As much as we'd love just to spend a little more time fishing for grayling in crystal clear rivers and camping by mountain lakes, we know that the road south promises some new epic landscapes, new history, and more of the hidden corners of British Columbia for us to discover. We're stopping again for another bug cleanup. Hard to get those shots through the windshield when there's bug guts everywhere.
Rest area breakfast.
Thank you. Got a few kilometers done first thing this morning. Just stopping at Mortuella Lake rest area for a quick bite. So neither of us get hangry at all during our big drive today. We're in no rush to finish the Stewart Cassiar, but we do need to be in Prince George by Saturday, and that is 3 days away. So we do have more than enough time to get there. But still, it is a giant province with many kilometers in between. I think after 10 years, buddy, you'd learn a little bit of personal space. Well, I can't help but think that every time we put this thing up in the sky, it just very well may be its last flight. Had another scare today along 37, and yeah, we tried driving, and well, Alannah was driving and I was flying, and yeah, it just disconnects out of nowhere, and we had to kind of go back and forth up the road. It wasn't pretty, but it ended up going back to the home point by itself, and we had to go back about 3 kilometers and retrieve it. So it's yeah, it's keeping us on our toes, that's for sure. But I have a good feeling that once we hit Prince George, we just very well may have to make an investment, because this is just getting dangerous at this point. Bye.
We'll see you soon.
It's been a very somber day with these clouds, but it makes up for some pretty cool views up in the sky. Pretty wild, just a narrow ribbon of road cut through such a vast wilderness. You can start to tell we're getting close to the junction where you can turn right and go into Stewart, because a lot of the trees and the bush beside the road is getting much thicker. And you're starting to see the old man's beard like you would closer to the coast. We got a couple good ones. We won't push our luck. Bring it back down so we can live to see another day.
Oh, that one scared me. Yay!
Woo! All right, carrying on.
Is it your turn to drive, Diesel? Okay, buckle up.
Well, it's been a long driving day, and as you can see, we've gotten ourselves into a little bit of a predicament here. I'm just airing right down because we are in some loose gravel, and I walked up a bit to scout it out when we came down here, and it seemed hard packed enough, but the further we got up this beach, it got looser and looser. So I'm trying to reverse, and I gave her balls coming back, but I went off just a little bit, and this loose rock kind of sucked me to the side a bit. So I'm airing right down, and I'm hoping I can just get a little bit of momentum to get going and get back. It's really not that far, but yeah, we gotta get ourselves out of this.
This is our first time getting stuck like this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it feels silly now once you're in the situation, but I blame it on the long driving day. I'm just not making good choices. I'm hungry.
We'll get out of here.
Yeah, this big 6,000-pound vehicle belongs in the grass, not the pebbles on the beach, unfortunately.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah. Well, that was an eventful end to the day. Got ourselves a little stuck, but we got ourselves out of it, and that's all that matters. We're parked on the grass, gonna be safe and sound there for the night, and we're just airing Walter back up, and then tomorrow we're gonna head into the town of Old Hazelton. We're gonna do a little exploring there in the morning. So we'll pick up there tomorrow, gonna eat some dinner tonight, and just probably get some rest. So catch up in the morning. Morning, buddy. Ready for your walk? We're out for our morning walk, and we came back to the scene of the crime last night. And it's a good thing we stopped where we did, because it just got from loose gravel into just plain sand, and we would have been really stuck. And of course, when we originally got stuck, my first instinct was not to grab the camera. So unfortunately, you didn't really get to see the tires buried as they were at full PSI, because I was trying to rock it back and forth between drive and reverse just to give it some momentum, but we just kept spinning and it dug deeper and deeper. So I used Diesel's food tote, the lid, to kind of scoop away all the gravel and sand, and then just deflated it down to like 25 PSI in every tire. And we've never had the tires that low, but I can't believe how easily it cut through that terrain just like butter to get us out. So could have been a bad situation, but we got ourselves out of it.
This was our potential exit plan yesterday if we just kept going forward, but Diesel and I scouted it out, and it's even more sandy here, and then it's a little uneven up here, and narrow. So I feel like it would have been a little sketchy. But I don't think we would have even made it, but who knows?
Yeah, that's
And then we could have made our way through the rest of the trail up here.
Yeah, that's narrow.
Look at that though. Like,
Yeah.
it dips down.
Yeah. The spot we camped at last night, just outside of Hazelton, is technically a provincial park. It has the signs and everything, but it was free. We didn't have an attendant or anyone come around and collect a fee or anything like that. Really beautiful spot right along the Scenic River. And we're gonna head into town to Hazelton, and I want to show you guys this town because we did actually take a stop here last year, and it really stuck out to me. It's a really beautiful town and a lot of cool history, like all the places up north here. If you've been watching our videos, you've probably got hopefully a few lessons in history in these northern towns by now, but yeah, it really stood out to me last time, so I want to go back and check it out and show you guys. And it's a little comical because even though we drove 7.5 hours south along the Stewart Cassiar Highway yesterday, we were still pretty far north in BC. Just kind of goes to show how massive of a place BC really is. I'm fairly certain you could spend a lifetime exploring it and still not even see half of it. Before roads and railways, the Skeena River was the main transportation route into northern British Columbia. Old Hazelton was as far as the sternwheelers could travel reliably up the river, making it the last major supply point for the prospectors and settlers heading further into the interior. And in those days, all supplies, mail, tools, all had to be carried in on the backs of pack animals. And no one was more famous for this than a man simply known as Catiline. Born in southern France, he came to BC during the gold rushes and quickly became known as the province's greatest mule packer. He could handle trains of up to 80 mules, hauling freight in some of the most remote corners of the north. He had a reputation for toughness, reliability, and the care for his animals. The man had many quirks to his character, but one of my favorites, as I have to respect a good beard when I see one, he would soak his in cognac before heading back into town to mask the smell of weeks of smoke and sweat after a long trip on the trail. Well, another town, another bakery,
Another
cinnamon bun, and chocolate chip cookie. Doesn't matter where we go, we have to sniff out a bakery and check it out.
Oh.
I do have to say though, one of our favorites, there's been lots of favorites that we've stopped at, but the one in Johnson's Crossing, Yukon, was closed this year when we went up, and we were anticipating it for many, many kilometers. We were going to stop in Johnson's Crossing for gas and for baked goods, and we Googled it afterwards, and I believe it was due to staff shortages. We're not entirely sure. But regardless, it was closed with a bunch of stuff in the lot for sale, so it was pretty sad to see because we've stopped in there every single time, so...
I'm glad we did when we were up there before.
Yes, because you just never know. These remote northern towns, you just, you never know what's going to happen, so.
But it's like these northern towns know travelers like coffees, teas, and baked goods. Mm-hmm. Because you can guarantee they're pretty much anywhere you go. So we're just hanging out in Old Hazelton right now. A little bit of a rainy day now, but we're just getting some treats, some coffees for the road, and we're gonna make our way over to Smithers.
Yep.
A little bit of a drive ahead.
Yeah, putting in some more kilometers today. This is still warm, so we're gonna go in for it. Yeah,
Hello.
Can't go wrong.
Hello, I left you off my phone.
That's okay. How are you?
Baked goods and calling the grandparents.
Access to the back door.
These mule trains carried everything from flour to nails to mining gear and medicine, ensuring the communities beyond Hazelton survived. But when the railway arrived in the early 1900s, it bypassed Old Hazelton. The new town grew around the railway station and eventually around the much more convenient source of travel, Highway 16. This town is another great example as to how quickly things can change for these small towns. Once newer, more convenient ways to travel are introduced. Well, we put in another really big driving day yesterday and kind of just bypassed through Smithers and then found this little lake spot here to camp last night. But this is the first morning we've put in so many kilometers we don't really know exactly what town we're by. We're about an hour out of Smithers, and we've got another 3.5 hours to Prince George. So we're putting in the final stretch today, and we should be there in a bit.
Okay, we're in Burns Lake now, so we just stopped for some breakfast at Eatery Burns Lake. Little cafe, breakfast shop, super cute in there. So we're gonna fuel up.
Yeah.
We still have a few more hours to go.
Yeah, I love these long drives, stopping in these little towns and stuff. We've driven through here a few times, but we've never actually stopped, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot anyways, but we needed some fuel to put in the rest of the hours today. Solid. Someone else has come to visit us. You'll get yours, don't worry. There was a time in my life when I was a lot younger where I'd see the crispiness on the egg and be like, ew, that's gross. But that just means it's legitimate egg that they've used to create this sandwich and not whatever else other places use. but
We are in Prince George. We made it. We were in town earlier today and just got a couple of groceries, and we decided it was time to go for a shower, and so we went to the YMCA and had a $3.50 shower. Probably our cheapest shower that we've had to date, or, unless it was a free shower, but we're feeling pretty fresh.
nobody offers cheap showers anymore. It's always, you get the day pass and it's like $10, $15, even if you just want a shower. So
Yeah, usually if you want to shower, you have to pay for the workout as well, but we didn't want to work out.
I figured Alannah's heading out first thing tomorrow morning, so we're gonna do a little steak night here in the van. We got potatoes, broccoli, onions, mushrooms, garlic, steak, of course. So I'm gonna put those on the pan right now, I think. Love that sound. We only have one good knife, so I'm using the butter knife.
We literally use this knife for everything.
Everything. Yeah. Steak in the office. Can't go wrong.
I burned my foot. The George Foreman grill. That is not the same at all. If you're gonna ask other people to do it, you should do it yourself. All right, okay, all right, fine.
Spent the night here at this trailhead area, and we were the only ones here, besides a couple side-by-sides ripping out of here in the middle of the night. It was actually pretty relaxing and quiet. We got some good rest and on our way to the airport this morning. Ready for your big flight?
Ready. Flying out of Prince George for the first time today, and I'm guessing it's a smaller airport. And then I think my flight's like an hour and a half to Vancouver for a short layover, and then I land in Regina for a week. And I'll just kind of be traveling to different clinics in the area, so lots of driving, but really excited to see everyone there. And then next week I fly to Vancouver Island and staying with some of our friends for the week while working. So really excited to go back to the island just for a little bit and visit some friends, and then come back to Prince George, and then we're off on another big adventure. Our plans kind of changed a little bit from what we were initially planning on doing once I got back from Prince George, but we're kind of like, why not take another detour? We've been wanting to do this trip for a long time too, so let's do it. So I'll see you in 2 weeks.
You're gonna have more fun than I am. Well, for sentimental value, I got a clip of us saying goodbye and Alannah waving as she went into the airport, but for some reason it didn't record, so this part always kind of sucks a little bit. Alannah's going to be away for 2 weeks, and Diesel and I are going to hang out in the Prince George area during that time. Got a whole bunch of editing and just work to do here, so it's kind of nice to just have to sit in one spot, because that's generally not how we operate. So it's been really cool just to be going to these different towns and cities and staying put for a while, and you really get to experience it a lot more, because Prince George was always a place we would just kind of rip through and carry on to the next best destination. So we'll be in the area, and I mean, there's so much in the surrounding area that we can do over the next 2 weeks, but Walter needs a little love, so it's a good place to be here in the city, to have access to all those things and, places we can kind of post up and get some work done. But I think right now we're going to head up the road and cook up some breakfast, because I am starving.
Turn right onto British Columbia 97 North.
Don't worry, this isn't breakfast. It's actually several days later. And we're doing a little project today because we finally have a nice day. It's been raining a lot here in Prince George, and honestly, this is long overdue. So a couple months ago, we went to do the South Canal Road, and we actually had to call that trip quits early because we had to get back to town to charge our power source, our Bluetti. and to upload a video, because we have Starlink up, we get videos up, try to for every week. And so we have to install this right here, and it's long overdue. This is the Bluetti Charger one, and it's a DC to DC charger. And so ultimately what this is going to do is, instead of plugging it in to the cigarette lighter and only getting between 90 to 100 watts, this is going to give us up to 500 to 600 watts. And now it looks like a very easy installation. But if I've learned anything from building out a van and doing several tedious little projects, it's that these things take way, way longer than you always anticipate them to. But realistically, all it is we're hooking up the terminals to the positive and the negative on the battery. We're going to run it through the firewall, and this is just going to be a rough installation today because I'm waiting for a part that Alannah is going to bring back once she flies in this weekend. This honestly looks really simple, but I was going to do it the good old-fashioned guy way. But there's instructions. I might as well read them, you know. Having a table would be pretty solid, but all the natural light is out here, so we're doing it under the hood. Loosen these up. There. We'll nip this in the butt right here and now, because anyone that knows anything about, I guess, chargers or anything, running anything off of a battery, and that's going to utilize your alternator, it is putting more stress on the alternator. And out of the 4-ish years that we've had this van, I have not changed the alternator. So yes, it does put more stress on the alternator, so we are going to grab a spare one. And then if it ever did come to the chance where we do need to do an emergency repair and swap out the alternator, at least we'll have one on hand. Because I've heard very conflicting views on what people say about, you know, putting these chargers up to your van and how it's going to fry your alternator. These things are horrible. And then I've heard other people that said it's not going to do anything to your alternator. So hopefully if you watch this, it's going to save you from going down the rabbit hole. And then in a few months' time, we'll let you know how this has worked out for us. But yes, for the however many years we've been traveling now, we've always just gone to either a visitor center or a rest area. We found a plug and we've just put it into the grid, and it usually charges with less than an hour. It's super fast. But as I was saying, we did the South Canal road. We did that trip last month, and we had to cut it short, which really sucked because we were out there, we were catching grayling, we met up with some new friends, and we kind of just had to rush through it so we could get back to the closest town to upload a video. So with all the driving that we're doing, within a few hours, this realistically, once it's hooked up to the battery, it should give us that extra 600 watts or whatever it is. So that should be able to charge this Bluetti power station up in a couple hours. Another thing, and it also states this in the installation manual here, under the hood, we're going to install a waterproof 60 amp breaker. So once we run this through the van to where our Bluetti sits, if anything were to short out, we won't have a live wire running through our home essentially. So we had to get that ordered to our friend's place, and Alannah is there now, so when she flies back we'll be able to finish the installation. Got a little nippy outside here in the shade, but my one issue here was finding a spot in the firewall that I could run into under the hood, but I think I've found one spot under the driver's side that goes right through. But of course the battery's on the complete opposite side, but it's not the end of the world. We'll have to just run it across at the top there, make sure it's not rubbing against anything that's going to get hot under there. I think that's the ticket right there. Come on. Look at that, perfect. And this van was a prisoner transport vehicle for the BC government before we owned it. And so there's so many things for accessory lights and just all this extra stuff, and I don't really know what it is, but it is some housing that I could probably run this through actually. It does have this nice snake skin on both of the wires to kind of protect it as well. All right, negative. First off, last on, or something like that. Well, what part do you put on your nipples? Okay, positive is on. How is that one a different size? We went over to Canadian Tire because the negative terminal, the bolt, is bigger than the positive. And so I went to just get an adjustable wrench. And then, of course, when I took the negative bolt out, I realized that this piece, the bolt won't go through the terminal there. So I'm gonna use some snips and gently cut the center out there and then try and pry it open so that bolt can fit, and then we should be good to go. Hopefully. But I called it right at the beginning of today. Should be such a simple task, but there's always just one little thing to make it not a simple little task. See, a tire plug kit's not just for plugging tires, you know? Now the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing works. Again, this is just a rough setup, so when we're doing longer drives, we'll put it up in the front with us here and plug it in just when we're going to be at highway speeds, because again, it is really hard on the alternator from what I've read and from what I've seen. So when we're doing big trips, we'll have it plugged in with us, but it's not going to be plugged in all the time. And it also does have a breaker at the very front of the line, but that's just to protect the actual power system. So we still do need a 60 amp one under if we're going to hardwire this and have it running through the whole van. Flip that on. There it is. 225 watts to start. That's low. I mean, that's way better than the cigarette lighter, but that's still pretty low. That should slowly start to climb up. Bluetti is only reading 225 watts, which is still a win in my opinion, but it should be closer to 500 and 600 watts. And from what Google is telling me, there's a setting in the app that I need to switch on so it can do the full capacity, because I originally thought maybe it was the battery or the alternator might be already starting to fail, because as I mentioned, I haven't changed it, but I went and got an oil change. We hooked the multimeter up. Everything's reading what it should, so that's not the issue. So we'll get that figured out for next time, but 225 watts is going to save us some headaches in the future, so we don't have to finish our trips prematurely. And that is a good thing, because we are heading towards Bella Coola. We're cutting west again in a couple days when I pick up Alannah, and that is a trip we've been anticipating for a long time. It's just one that we've never got to yet, so it looks like an absolutely incredible drive, and we can't wait to bring you guys along for that one in a couple weeks. But before you guys go, I just want to say a very special thank you, of course, to everybody that stayed to this point and watches these videos, but to our wonderful patrons that help us out a little bit financially every month, because we're not risking our lives anymore for drone shots. It's not worth it. And like I mentioned, we're gonna do a little investment while we're here in Prince George, while we have all the luxuries here in a city. So we grabbed one of these, and we wouldn't have been able to if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to fly this and show the incredible views of the Bella Coola Valley next week. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you guys haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.